Good morning, farming ain't easy. Thanks for coming to help with this one today, Dad. Today's video is going to be controversial. You're going to want to see this. Hold on to your seats. Not sure if the microphone can hold this up, but before we get into today's video, if you can hear Mr. Plow is plowing under a field just over here for one of the neighbors. Maybe we'll have to drop him a visit. But anyway, what we're going to get up to today is, yes, we're hauling hay, but we're not going to be bothering you with the trucking. What we're going to be doing is dealing with everything to do with these bales being 4-foot bales out of the brand new Krone Comprina V190 XC Plus that we had the opportunity to do some work with here this summer with Krone. We've shipped a couple of these bales out, but we've never done full truckloads. So these are 4-foot flat side to flat side bales. They're pretty close to 6 feet tall, 5'7", 5'8" tall. And this is our first time doing full loads on the truck. I'm excited for this because these bales weigh more than the 5-foot bales that came out of our John Deere baler. So we're hauling them. They're gonna haul nice because of how hard they are. That's exciting. The geometry of them is also gonna be exciting because going down the road wide load is difficult. It's dangerous. It's an extra step that doesn't need to be there. So we are gonna put that to bed and enjoy everything that has to offer. One of the coolest things about 4-foot bales, in my opinion, why go down the road wide if you don't have to? So here, these are our bale racks on our 53-foot step deck trailer. It's got about a 10-foot neck. So anyways, when we're hauling double, so flat sides to the outside of the bale, with a 5-foot bale, the bales come wider than this outside rail. This rail here holds a lot of the weight. And then we have this transition rail that helps support the bale so that you want the bales to lean towards the center of the truck. We are going to be able to accomplish that today, even with these 4-foot bales, because we're going to be using this inner rail. With how dense these bales are is going to be a huge factor, because when the rail is helping lean the bale into the center of the truck, these bales are dense. So the rail isn't just going to get absorbed by the soft hay, because it's not soft. These are very dense bales. So the density and the 4-foot geometry of these bales is going to make today's video real interesting. We're going to put a lot of the misconceptions here to bed, and you guys are going to want to see this. To load the bales, we're just going to be using the JCB 54270 with a 3-spear bale spear. With how dense these bales are, we've never experienced this, but I can see it happening. The bale spear is probably going to want to not pull out of the bale very easy versus our 5-foot bales coming out of the John Deere. They've never been as dense as what we've been able to get out of these bales with the Krone. So in a perfect world, if we are going to buy this baler one day and continue to build these very dense bales, what we'd probably do is not run such a heavy duty bale spear. We'd still use this same one, but you see how it has 3 equal length heavy duty spears. Well, we need that for the 5-foot bales that aren't very dense. These dense bales, we could probably get away with 1 heavy duty top spear and 2 bottom spears that were maybe only 20 inches long. They don't need to support much weight. Right off the bat, we probably got the wrong bale spear for the job. It would be nice to not have to run such a heavy duty bale spear. So right off the bat, 4-foot dense bales out of that Krone are already winning. So let's see how the rest of the day goes. So this is pretty interesting. This typically happens when we haul 5-foot bales, but the 5-foot bales aren't as dense. We haul 38 a time on this truck and trailer combination, but typically the bales are not sticking off as far. So you can see from a geometry perspective, the circumference is the same, but because these bales are so dense, they're not compressing on the truck, which is going to make for a stronger load. However, the way we have our bale racks set up, we may next year, if we have the opportunity to use these krone balers again, is we may need to actually build a smaller bale diameter wise. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but yeah, the bales are just not compressing at all because they're so dense. Like I say, you can't even get your fingers in these bales. It's going to be great preserved hay, but we're going to have to push and see if we can get it in. Worst case scenario, if we cannot get them in all in the same orientation, we will put the back 3 bales on the trailer, flat side facing back. So worst case scenario, that's what we'll have to do. Yep. What we're doing here right now, reaching over on the top step of this truck with the telehandler, is not something we've ever been able to do with a standard tractor, like a front wheel assist tractor. We'd always have to load that top far side bale from the other side. We've never been able to reach entirely from the one side of the truck with anything but a telehandler, which is pretty cool. We shave about 10 minutes off of loading a load of 38 bales with the telehandler versus a standard front wheel assist loader tractor. I thought the mirror was in my way going the other way. I don't know what to say, just throwing straps. You can see there, as Kyle would say, you can tell by the way that it is that those 2 bales have been squished quite a bit, and look at the top row, it's almost as long as the back of the trailer. So we're going to need to be pushing here on the top row and get the top to go a little more oval like their sister down below. Anyway, that's a tidy looking load. Throw a couple more straps and we're headed south. So far, all we had to do different was we had to push a little harder from the back of the trailer to get them on. These bales are dense, like we keep saying, and to get them all lined up so that the top bales are in the crevasse of the bottom bales, we had to push a little harder than we typically do, but that's learning, right? Well, Dad, as I distracted drive coming out of the field, I can't do this once we get on the road, but first impressions of the load. I'll mention to you one of the eye-openers for me. The bale density created a lot of benefits. However, when you went to tie down and tighten the 4-inch straps, they actually got tight. Versus our 5-foot bales that we've made with other balers, you can crank them on those winches and they just kind of always feel snug. These tightened up, and now like you were tightening a piece of steel down to the deck.
It's like 5 clicks and then all of a sudden it's stopped.
Yeah, so that was the eye-opener for me. Well, putting you on the spot, what was the biggest eye-opener with these bales? First load.
Well, we knew it was going to look good.
It looks pretty sweet, yeah.
I think it's easier for you laying them in, like you can see a definite line.
Yeah, I did just make a comment about that, which we'll come back to, but
Oh, all right.
What else?
I don't know. I mean, it's just, it is what we thought it would be.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you can look in the mirrors and see behind the truck.
I'm literally noticing that for the first time as we pull out on that field approach. I start grabbing some gears here. I don't even need my wide load mirrors. That was crazy. But to your point about it's easier to visualize, yes, because the bales are so straight and solid. But it's actually, I was just telling our audience here that it is harder to load because these bales have no give. When you put them on the trailer, you have to put them on straight, you have to put them on in the perfect spot because there's no flex in the bale. The 5-foot bales that we've made out of other balers, they you can contort them into the position you need them to be.
Another interesting thing about these bales is the other day I fed one of these bales to some horses. Put them in a feeder. You lay it down flat, put the round feeder around it, and the horses put their head down to the top of the bale rather than the edge or the corner. And they can't take clumps in their mouth anymore. They have to use their teeth actually as if they're grazing to pick up because it's so dense and they have to pull it out. And so they don't have these big gobs in their mouth and they don't waste as much. It doesn't get spilt on the ground.
Yeah, when you cut the net wrap, it doesn't just all fall apart onto the ground.
It was kind of neat. And then once it opens, you should see how green and moist. I mean, it's just nice.
It's nice, hey, on the inside. If anything, these bales got a hair dry on us because remember it was 34 degrees. That was during the Jasper wildfire smoke. These bales got a hair dry. We maybe should have baled them at night just to try and get some more moisture in them. So they're probably 9 or 10% moisture bales.
But as soon as the horses got into the real green stuff, it was like they were on, like they couldn't get enough of the smell that was coming out of that bale. So it actually maintained its greenness and moisture.
Maybe they were on Dr. Pepper. All right, we just left the scale. We're grabbing gears on the highway now, but the interesting part of this is we're just going to drive down the highway here, enjoy the views that we'll show you, but we'll get a tear weight here and we'll show you how much these bales weigh. Keep in mind these bales are dry. They're 9 to 10% moisture, which is drier than what we wanted, but we had to play the hand we were dealt with that, and I'm guessing these particular bales are 1,280 pounds, which, you know, there's 5-foot round bales that are in that same weight class. So, like my wife always tells me, density matters. So as you can see, we are using a John Deere, I think it's a 74 510 series tractor. And these tractors with these older loaders aren't typically known for their reach. But as you can see, we are reaching on the top bale across the back side of the truck. These 4-foot bales are allowing us to reach that far without the grill being stoved into the bale on this side or the bale rack. So typically the 5-foot bales would be sticking 6 inches off of the steel bale rack. So you'd be burying the grill of the tractor into the bale or into the bale rack, which these 4-foot bales, we get to avoid that and still unload the truck from the one side of the trailer. I guess we don't need a telehandler, eh? All right, that was the end of our first load of 4-foot bales. That was a pleasurable experience. They hauled well. When we went to the scale to weigh them, we checked straps and they were still tight. 9 times out of 10 with the 5-foot bales, they're not as dense, so we have to actually tighten our straps once you've bounced down the road a little bit. When we drove an hour and a half and unloaded them, they were just as tight as when we loaded them. So yeah, the load went down the highway really well. It was nice to not need my wide load mirrors, see what all the straps are doing, and see the whole load from front to back of the trailer. So let's throw one of these 5-foot bales on the trailer just to show you guys the difference on geometry, how it fits on the bale rack.
Yeah, good idea.
Let's do it. Yes, everybody knows the difference and knows what 12 inches looks like, but 4-foot bale, 5-foot bale. The 4-foot bale is utilizing the inner part of our bale rack. The 5-foot bale is utilizing the inner, the outer, and it's still hanging over by several inches. So that is what it is. That's simple geometry, but just look down the side of the truck. Like every trucker says, if you can't see me in your mirrors, I can't see you. Like you can see the truck's mirrors going down the side of the road. So these bales are traveling very, very nicely going down the road because they're still angled in to the center of the trailer, and the second row, everything's angled in. We're still able to utilize the middle crossbar on the trailer. So the bale racks keep everything nice and straight. They still let these 4-foot bales lean into each other. So they were a super stable load on this hour-and-a-half drive. So far, very, very impressed with these 4-foot bales. Krone Varipack V190 bale. These came out of the same field, out of a John Deere 568 baler. And the hydraulic tension on this baler was probably running at 75-80% tension. The hydraulic density on these, it has a 3-zone system. We'll have to go back to the How Fast Track. We can put up hay, talk more about that density, but I believe it was about 50%. So it could actually go quite a bit heavier density than that, but like, okay, without breaking my fingers off, I've got my hand up to my wrist into that bale. I can't even get to the base of my fingers, and I even gave this bale the benefit of the doubt, and I put my hand into one of the spots where the bale spear went in. If I went to where the bale spear did not already penetrate the bale, I cannot get my fingers past my fingernails. So I know we've mentioned density in this video and in this comparison quite a bit, but in the end, it's volume. How much volume of product is in a bale, regardless of its size. There's about 1,270, 1,280 pounds of hay in this bale, and there's about the same in the John Deere 5-foot bale. I would personally rather have it in a smaller format. This hay is all off of that far corner of the field. It's the same hay, harvested the same day. I'm leaning towards saving up my pennies and maybe trying to get into a 4-foot baler one day, because so far, it's a controversial subject, but so far, the geometry of a 4-foot makes more sense to me. So again, controversial subject. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for following along on this video. We've spoke a lot about density, and we've said controversial. We've said those 2 words lots in this video so far. The crazy thing is when we were in Agritechnica this last year, I met lots of people over there. One guy I actually keep in touch with, he said something pretty funny. He says, "We're doing it wrong." And I won't tell you what part of the world he was from, but 4-foot bales are industry standard everywhere else in the world except for North America. So except for Canada and the US, 4-foot bales are standard everywhere. Yes, we have different road rules and legislations. Our roads can tolerate wider loads going down them. So yes, that all plays a part, but the industry standard for the population of the world is a 4-foot bale. I want to be patriotic to North America and saying that, or to not say that, but I'm going to just be honest with you guys. Industry standard, probably by population, is a 4-foot bale. That's why it's controversial. It's just not as common here in North America, especially up here in Canada and certain parts of the US. So, controversial on Halloween. Let's go trick-or-treating. And I can't help but notice something. Look at the color of the end of this bale. This baler of lower density, this is the 5-foot bale. You can see a little bit more discoloration, maybe mold from water being more present, I guess you could say, on the surface area of that bale. Look at that bale. The color of it alone is different, just because probably, again, the density isn't allowing water to kind of get into those couple inches of space around the bale. But yeah, just look at that color. Hopefully you guys can see that on this camera, but the tightness of these bales must shed water a little bit better because of the density than these. When they're not as dense, water must infiltrate in the outside layer. All right, it's the next day. Dad and I were loading double yesterday with the bale spear, and now we got the double bale grapple and Kyle here. So what we'll do is real quick, last but not least, 4-foot versus 5-foot bale comparison. We're gonna grab two at a time. We're cheating a little bit because we have a double bale grapple. This is an attachment actually Kyle hasn't spent a pile of time with yet.
No, it's fairly new to me.
Yeah, so everyone's probably aware, most guys have a tractor loader on their tractor and they have a bucket and grapple on the end. And that's what most guys use for carrying 2 bales across the field. The reason we own this double bale grapple is because when you have a bucket and a grapple, that's a lot of physical weight on their own, and it pushes the center of gravity forward because of the length and depth of the bucket.
That's right.
So that's why we like using an actual designed, purpose-built double bale grapples, because it pulls that weight forward closer to the tractor. The double bale grapple that you see on the tractor here can be put on a well, we have it on the telehandler. It can also be used on tractors. But the reason this is controversial is the 4-foot versus 5-foot bales. Whether you're using a double grapple bale or a bucket grapple with 2 5-foot bales, you got 10 foot worth of leverage twisting your loader as you bounce across a rough field.
Opposed to these bales where we're getting the 4 feet, so a total of 8 feet wide.
Instead of it being this, it's this.
Correct.
And less torque. So what we'll do here real quick, we got to load 20 bales on the truck for a small order we got to deliver. Between Kyle and I, we'll try and capture how much easier it is on the lifting tractor, which in our case, we're using a JCB telehandler. We'll try and capture how big that difference is. And no, we're not doing, isn't that like a surfer symbol? Like,
yeah, hang loose.
Like, you hang loose, bud. We're using the hang loose here to describe the width of 5-foot bales because we're farmers.
Yeah.
But it's
Hawaiian style today.
As well. Hang loose, bud.
Hawaiian style.
Hawaiian style. We're doing it.
See how much he's bouncing around there. It's definitely a lot more weight outside of the grapple, so you can totally tell the difference between the 4-foots and the 5-foots.
I don't know if the camera picked that up or if it does it justice, but this telehandler has boom control, like suspension on boom, and the boom control worked a lot more with the 5-foot bales, probably just because of that leverage. I don't know if it caught it on camera, but you can really feel it as the operator, the amount of twists and hanging loose that the 5-foot bales are doing. So small thing, a little bit of extra wear and tear on your tractor, I guess, with 5-foot bales, but they all work and they all serve a purpose. So far, I think the 4-foot bales win this category. Wow, we need to figure out how many of these 4-foot bales we can fit on a truck. I wasn't planning on talking about this; it just jumped in my head now. When we load pipe style like this, yesterday we were loading double, 2 rows down, 2 rows up. This is pipe style, obviously from the resemblance of a pipe going down the side of the truck. There would be 1 row on top of this, so 2 below, 1 row above. With 5-foot bales on a 53-foot step deck trailer, we were only able to haul 33 bales. There was an odd amount of length on the neck of the truck and at the back of the truck. So right off the bat, we should be able to fit 39 bales on this truck versus 33 5-foot bales. In the end, all that matters is the amount of cubic footage and weight of hay. But these 4-foot bales are actually going to fit the geometry of a 53-foot step deck trailer that we use for hauling hay better than the 5-foot bales. They're a lot less weight. When we haul pipe style with 5-foot bales, we can't get enough weight on the truck. We can haul more of this and still be within our axle allowances. So I wasn't even thinking of that being a thing, but it's a thing. So just doing the math on these bales, what these weigh and the space they take, 33 of those 5-foot bales would weigh about 42,000 pounds. 39 of these bales that weigh about 1,270 pounds, we could fit 49,500 pounds of weight on the truck. We would still be within our axle weights and get more on a truck. So if you're a farmer paying for delivery costs, these 4-foot bales make more logistical sense too. Yesterday's video, we briefly talked about a telehandler or a tractor being able to reach from one side of the truck to the other with 4-foot bales, because the tractor typically has to either hit the bale rack or it hits the 5-foot bale that's out here. Kyle and I were able to load a truck double the other day with the telehandler in 35 minutes, loaded and tied down. But the simple fact that we could load the entire truck from one side with a traditional tractor with these 4-foot bales saved us 10 to 15 minutes loading that truck. If we are a farmer, a rancher, a producer of any kind, paying for trucking, hiring a truck, in our area, a truck is between 165 and 185 Canadian dollars an hour. For sake of conversation, let's use 175 right in the middle. So that's $2.91 a minute when he's on site hauling hay. Right off the bat, if we save 15 minutes loading a truck because we can drive from one side and not have to drive the tractor all the way around, doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it's 10 to 15 minutes. If that saves us 15 minutes at $175 an hour for that truck, that just saved us $43.75 of subcontracted money to the trucker. It all comes down to geometry and, well, density. So far, we're not saying we're switching to 4-foot bales, but right now, if we were buying another baler, we'd be seriously looking at a 4-foot baler. This is an eye-opening experience. What's that symbol people do where your mind is blown? This video is all about hanging loose and mind-blowing activities, I guess. But anyways, we got to deliver these to the neighbor. I've got a supper to get home to. Kyle's got to go to his real job. And let's get these 20 bales delivered and tied down.
As time goes on, we're putting more videos. A little bit more efforts have been put into me helping David with these videos. So little spin on me is hang loose. Here we are today. Got my toque on. Kind of a little bit of a surfer, snowboard dude myself, but
It's cold out.
it's cold out today. So thanks for watching. If you guys like the content that we're producing, make sure to comment and follow us. Hit the little bell or the
subscription thing.
do it all.
But most important, hang loose.
Hang loose.